Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of the Brew City Lounge. Welcome to the Milwaukee Bucks post-game show as those Milwaukee Bucks win big in Game 4, 107-96. As always, I am your host, Brandon. Please go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Also, do not forget to follow the shows on Facebook, on Twitter. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Brew City Pod. Very, very excited to be coming to you live following that huge Bucks victory. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dissect it. What went right? Not a whole lot went wrong. What can go better? Obviously, we'll look ahead to Game 5. We'll break it down quarter by quarter. I want your guys' thoughts. I want your opinions. If you're on the live feed right now, please drop in some comments. My dad is on. Noah is on. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the only Milwaukee post-game show in the area. People, do not forget, I am your local podcaster. These teams that I root for, these Bucks, these Brewers, these Packers, I am in the backyard with you guys all. I was almost went down to the Deer District today. I get a little anxious and nervous during big games, so I like to watch them at home. But shout out down to the Deer District for absolutely tearing the roof off the building in the arena, and then outside the Deer District was absolutely on fire. It was really cool to see a lot of people talking about our city, about the Deer District, where we've come. So that was really cool to see and cool to hear other people talk about outside of course, ourselves. But we're going to dive right into it. I don't know about you guys, but it's starting to feel like it's supposed to be. It's starting to feel like it is supposed to be. We're going to break it down quarter by quarter. And if you're just jumping on, I see a few of you just jumping on. Drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are about a monstrous win in Game 4 to tie this series up. It is awesome. Mom, thank you for hopping on. She loves her Bucks. I appreciate you tuning in, and we all love our Bucks. And I know Noah's a little bit upset today, but he'll get over it. Let's break it down, though. That first quarter, right away in that first quarter, it was energy. And, of course, at the Fiserv Forum, one of the best atmospheres for an NBA playoff game was absolutely electric. You could feel it. I had a buddy that was down there who just dropped in a comment on here. My good buddy Jake, he's at the game, or he's just leaving the game. He was at the game. He's dropping a comment in, and I was texting him throughout the game, and he was like, it's so loud. It's incredible. So, really cool for him to be there to get 100% back capacity into the Fiserv Forum. So again, energy. eTech86, thank you for dropping in. PJ is the big dog today, and I will get to it. I want your guys' thoughts if you're on the live feed throughout this post-game show. At the end of the show, I want your MVP, your most valuable Buck for today. We got one vote for PJ Tucker here. I don't think you're going to get any arguing out of me. eTech86, I appreciate you dropping on as well. So again, starting that game out, energy. It was a little bit of a struggle still in that game with scoring and getting good shots and a little bit of a rhythm and a flow. But hey, you finished that first quarter only down by 3 against the Brooklyn Nets. Jeff Green was obviously back in the game. That added to a little bit of their rotation. So I think having him back defensively was a little bit of a spark plug for the Brooklyn Nets. And what I did notice in that first quarter is Giannis was playing a lot more off the ball. Now, last game in Game 3, that's one of the things that we took away from that ugly win in Game 3 was that Giannis was doing a lot of ISO, and he was playing with a lot of the ball at the top of the key, and it was cool to kind of see him play a little bit different role in that first quarter. He was playing way off the ball. Jrue Holiday was being a little bit more of the facilitator. Obviously, that's what he's here for. So it was awesome to see. Going into that second quarter, you knew it was going to happen. Like, guys, we knew that in a whole series, in a 7-game series. Now, games 1 through 3, they obviously shot horribly. They didn't score a whole lot of points. We knew that they were eventually going to hit some threes. Now, they jacked up a ton of threes tonight. 16 for 47. We'll break down the numbers. But the big number was the 16 makes, because they had not had a game where they've scored over 7 made three-pointers. So to see them hit 16, and really a couple of them in big moments. Pat Connaughton hit one late in that third quarter. Chris Middleton before the half when Brooklyn, after the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, hitting big shots at big moments. Again, we said it. I said it. What keys to my game was to hit big shots, timely shots. So going into that second quarter, the 3-pointers came alive. The Bucks went on a 19-2 run in that second quarter and kind of broke loose a little bit. Obviously, and unfortunately, Kyrie Irving goes down. And I know if you're on the live feed right now, if you're watching this live, you probably watched the game live. If I was a betting man, I would say Kyrie Irving's probably not going to play on Tuesday with a flight back to Brooklyn tonight. So I just, maybe he is. The ankle roll looked really, really bad. I mean, his ankle literally touched the ground, but it looked really bad. First off, we don't want to see injuries. The Milwaukee Bucks have dealt with their injuries throughout the course of our franchise, especially during playoff runs. I don't feel bad for the Brooklyn Nets. You have the best scorer in the NBA. You got a good bench. You supposedly have a good coach. So we'll see what the good coach and Steve Nash can do going forward. If two guys are out, I would suspect that James Harden probably starts making his way back to the lineup, knowing that series is now it's a brand new series, and we're going to talk about that as well in the next segment. It's a brand new series. So going into that second quarter, going into halftime, making 11 3-pointers in that first half. That was big. Now, when you look at it, well, they only made 16 in the whole game, 11 in the first half. That was okay because Brooklyn's run was in that first half. The second half was absolutely belonged to the Milwaukee Bucks. They outscored them, pretty handily. So it was about that first half, sticking with Kevin Durant, with Kyrie Irving before the injury, maintaining a little bit of a cushion, but nothing, not falling behind by too much. The Bucks were down at 11 points at one point in that second quarter, but that 19-2 run flipped that script, and the Bucks really never looked back. Going into halftime, Bucks up 53-48. Coming out in the third quarter, right before the Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets got back into that third quarter, news came out that Kyrie Irving was already listed out for the game. And usually, if you follow sports, if you follow football, basketball, baseball, soccer, if a guy is ruled out early after the injury, it's probably not good. So unfortunately, he's out of the game. And that's kind of a big blow to Brooklyn, knowing that they were going to rely heavily on Kyrie Irving being that facilitator, being that guy that can hit big clutch shots time in and time out. Kyrie Irving hits big shots, and I respect Kyrie Irving. I hope he's available to play in Game 5. I don't want to hear an excuse if the Milwaukee Bucks do go on to win this series that it was because of injury. So I want him to come back. And we saw a little bit of Elijah Bryant too. That was another note that I had written down. It was interesting to see. I remember watching the game thinking to myself, I did a double take because I was like, what is going on? Who is that? Nonetheless, though, Elijah Bryant really played good defense. He had one missed 3-point attempt, but I mean, for the most part, he played really, really sound, tough defense. And another guy that played really, really tough defense. And we're going to get to the numbers, and we'll see what Kevin Durant had, but PJ Tucker. Now we got a bunch of people on here. I brought up Arlen. Thank you so much for tuning in over on YouTube. Appreciate you. Bucks and 6. That's for the culture. Arlen, you might be onto something this year, man. It looks like it might be leaning that way, but we'll see. PJ Tucker from the start of the game until he was pulled out, just tough defense throughout the course of this game, especially tough in that third quarter. Kevin Durant had his stuff working, cooking in that third quarter, but again, wasn't enough to get that Brooklyn Nets team going at all in the second half. Again, credit to PJ Tucker for absolutely dominating. I wouldn't say dominating, but dominating the defensive side of the ball for the Milwaukee Bucks. Just very, very tough, stingy defense. Kevin Durant is earning everything that he is getting. He finished with 28 points. So he is going to get his, guys. We know Kevin Durant's going to get his. So PJ Tucker is a dog, Arlen. I love it. Thank you. You're absolutely right. We're going to get to our MVP later on the show. I'm pretty sure by the look of it that it's going to be probably going to be PJ Tucker. I think everybody on here has said it's been PJ Tucker. And interesting enough about PJ Tucker. Now, Fourth quarter, we won't talk too much about. Bucks pretty much had the game in hand. They win 107-96. The score really wasn't indicative on how dominant this game was. E-Tech 86 drops a very good comment. He says Durant only 1 for 8 on threes. So that's huge. I mean, that's big time because, again, 28 points and he only had 1 made 3-pointer. I mean, he's earning those buckets. I mean, he's grinding those out, and we'll break down the box score in a minute. But again, Bucks win, huge game, a must-win game. Obviously, every game from here on out is must-win. But PJ Tucker, we're gonna get to PJ Tucker real quick, and the way the way of the game that he played. Look, when we got PJ Tucker, it wasn't because we needed scoring off the bench. Now, obviously, it's great. We'll take it. I want it. But PJ Tucker's not coming out and scoring, 15, 20 points a game. You brought him over here for his defense. And tonight, PJ Tucker, again, just played phenomenal on the defensive side of the ball, holding Kevin Durant to 28 points. Kevin Durant played, let's see here, looking at 28 points in almost 42 minutes of play. I mean, he shot, 36%, and that's the difference in the game, especially with Brooklyn losing Kyrie Irving. That was the difference. We are dogs. I don't want to say shut Kevin Durant down, but he makes him earn everything he got. So looking at that game, broke down a little bit quarter by quarter. Bucks obviously win. It was a must win. Every game here on out is going to be a must win. But something real quick about PJ Tucker on the offensive side of the ball. He finished with 13 points. Now, previously in the first 3 games of this series, he only had 9 combined points. So he outscored himself in one game versus the first 3 games of the series. I think it's probably safe to say by the end of the show, we're going to have our most valuable buck and a guy that has taken on as one of the fan favorites out here in Milwaukee. We're going to go through the box score real quick. Who scored, who didn't, who needs to do better. Arlen drops. We'll get to a couple comments real quick. Arlen drops in. PJ Tucker is a guy the team was missing. He's a glue guy who others can look to confidence and energy. Amen, Arlen. 100% accurate. You are 100% right. That is a guy, when he acquired him at the trade deadline, I believe it was right before the trade deadline, we knew what PJ Tucker was coming in here for. It was exactly what Arlen says. It's going to be a glue guy, a tough guy, a guy that's going to do the dirty work. That's not going to be asked of Giannis or Chris Middleton or Jrue Holiday. They're still going to do what they need to do. But PJ Tucker is a different breed. Andy drops in a comment, good game, but I still don't see how this team is so great. I guess, Andy, I'm confused on what team you're talking about being so great. As far as I'm concerned, the series is tied at 2 games apiece in the best of 7. The Bucks protected home court. Brooklyn protected home court. Now it's anybody's series. We'll get to that. It's a brand new series. Nobody's saying this Milwaukee Bucks team is great by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think you're great until you win the finals, but they are a good team. Obviously, the last few years they have been good. So looking at the Bucks leading scorer, let's see, Giannis with 34 points, PJ Tucker with 13, Chris Middleton with 19. And Jrue Holiday added 14. Jrue Holiday seemed to, for a period there, look a little bit lost and struggle. It was early in that game where he was struggling. So to see him kind of turn it around, he finished with a plus or minus of +5, 14 points, 9 assists. So, I mean, that's a pretty good game for your number 3. If Jrue Tucker is your number 3, Chris Middleton obviously finished with 19 points and 8 assists. Chris Middleton had a phenomenal game. I mean, when he hit that 3, Brooklyn made a little bit of a run there going into that fourth quarter. The Bucks were up all the way up by 16, and Brooklyn cut it down to 9, and there was only like 6 seconds left. And Chris Middleton hit a huge buzzer beater 3 to kind of put the energy back in the building, put the Bucks up by 12, and then obviously in the fourth quarter, the Milwaukee Bucks never looked back. So it was a huge shot. Chris Middleton again showing up when he's needed. Giannis played under 40 minutes. That's encouraging going forward. Chris Middleton with just over 41 minutes, and Jrue Holiday at 37. That's good to see. And a game where you won, a game that you can not necessarily, exert all of your, big 3 into a game playing 42 to 46 minutes or so, seeing them be under 40 minutes, and Chris Middleton obviously right over 41. So that's encouraging to see. I told you guys going back to yesterday when I did the live show, This game was going to be, quote unquote, the season on the line, pretty much. Now we'll get to Brooklyn's real quick. Brooklyn did score, or excuse me, Kevin Durant did score 28 points. He was the leading scorer. Outside of Kevin Durant, nobody did pretty much anything. I mean, even Kyrie Irving going out of that game, he only had 11 points. And I mean, probably would have finished with a lot more, obviously, going out in that second quarter, but not much else on Brooklyn. Joe Harris, again, kind of nowhere to be found. I know they mentioned it on the TNT broadcast, and if you guys are on the live feed, you can always let me know as well. Something was going on with Blake Griffin, I think, because he went out in the middle of the third quarter and never came back. And he's kind of been that guy for Brooklyn, especially in the first two games. He was huge for them and actually had a good game in game 3. So to see him not come back out in the game after midway of the third quarter, I know he has back issues. I know he has knee issues. So I'm curious to see if anything does come out of that. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Blake Griffin. They got Blake Griffin listed as a center on this Brooklyn Nets team, so that's interesting. But again, Kevin Durant, 28 points, led the Nets in pretty much everything after Kyrie Irving did exit. Now, I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. This is a brand new series, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it just is. I mean, it's look, Brooklyn is supposed to be here. Brooklyn was always supposed to be here. I understand James Harden went out of the game. I get it. I understand that. I hate for that to happen to Brooklyn. I want it to be an even playing field for everybody. But that's just part of the game. Unfortunately, that's what happens. But do not forget that when Brooklyn acquired Kevin Durant and they signed Kevin Durant, they had Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn was still the favorites in the Eastern Conference. They were still picked to win before the James Harden trade. They were still the favorites in the Eastern Conference. They were still the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. Now you got the best scorer in Kevin Durant. You have a really, really good, really great point guard in Kyrie Irving, and we're going to see going forward, is Kyrie back in? I think, in my opinion, if I was a betting man, I would say Kyrie's probably out for game 5, and I think James Harden is probably going to get back, whether he's 100% ready or not. But I think you're going to start to see a little bit of the pressure put back on Brooklyn. Again, guys, they were supposed to be here. They were supposed to win the first 2 games, and they did. And everybody, including Bucks fans, including myself, were a little bit freaked out, a little bit upset. We thought the Bucks would come out with a little bit more of a fight in those first 2 games, but Brooklyn won. They won those 2 games. They could have won game 3, and I think this is where you have the advantage going up against Brooklyn, even if you get 1 or 2 of those guys back in James Harden or Kyrie Irving. And I said it after the game on I believe it was Thursday. It's eerily reminiscent of 2019 Eastern Conference Finals. Milwaukee Bucks blow out the Toronto Raptors in the first 2 games. I think the closest game was won by like 20 points. It was pretty much a blowout. You go to game 3 against Toronto. Milwaukee obviously up 2-0. Had a chance to win game 3, and the Bucks lost it in overtime. The Bucks never won a game again since that loss in game 3. Now, I'm not saying that the Milwaukee Bucks aren't going to beat or are going to beat the Brooklyn Nets and never look back. Brooklyn is too darn good to lose 4 straight games. But it just has a feeling, and if you're Brooklyn, you got to be looking back over your shoulder at game 3 thinking that was the one. That was the one, because if that game had been won, the series is over. Kyrie Irving's probably not hurt. He may, I mean, you don't know how game 4 was going to go had the Bucks been down 3-0. You're not going to get quit out of this team, but you just never know. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm still looking at game 3, shaking my head to potentially go up 3-0, maybe sweep the Milwaukee Bucks. Now you're going back to Brooklyn tied at 2 apiece. Not only are you tied, but the series, the pressure is on you. Everybody pens you in as the finals, as a champion prior to the playoffs. When you acquired James Harden, those expectations only amplified. They only got bigger. They only got higher. Everybody expects you to be where you're at. I understand you got a new head coach. He's as a rookie head coach, Hall of Fame player. I understand you got injuries. I get that. I hate that. Injuries suck. Unfortunately, it's part of every game. Every team that wins a championship or loses a championship or loses in the playoffs deals with some type of injury. PJ Tucker was banged up today. Pat Connaughton almost lost an eye. Unfortunately, it's just part of the game, and you hope that those guys come back a little bit healthier. But if I'm Brooklyn, and I'm a Brooklyn fan, I do not stop thinking about Game 3. Now, I know it's Sunday, and Thursday was a long time ago in the world of basketball. But that was a game that Brooklyn could have easily have won. And had they have won that game, they absolutely, without a doubt, win this series, either today or Monday or Tuesday. I don't think it matters, but eventually they're going to win, being up 3-0. Now you got to win 2 out of the next 3. What team can do that? The pressure's on Brooklyn. You got the better team. Even with Kyrie Irving and James Harden going out, all I see on my Twitter timeline is how great Kevin Durant is, what he can do, what Giannis can't do. Giannis can't win a ring with his style of play. Giannis is this. Giannis is that. I saw somebody else airball a 3 today. It wasn't Giannis. I don't know who it was. But pressure's on Brooklyn. And the pressure has not been on Brooklyn since they've been formed as the Big Three. They haven't had this pressure. Prior to the playoffs, they played 13 games together. Whoop-de-doo. But now the pressure's on them, and they're feeling it. Kevin Durant's getting frustrated. I said it after Game 1. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving played 45 minutes in Game 1. And you blew out the Milwaukee Bucks. Now the score was 115-107, but yeah, whatever. The last couple of minutes were kind of whatever. They were in control of that game, and you played Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant 45 minutes. Same thing in Game 2, same thing in Game 3. I don't want to sit here and speculate, that Kevin Durant's getting tired or whatever. PJ Tucker is wearing on him a little bit. PJ Tucker is wearing on him a little bit physically, probably a little bit mentally as well. Like PJ Tucker said, we're dogs, man. I mean, that guy's defense is so, he makes me tired just watching him. And to see him, look, KD's going to score, guys. He scored 28 points today. Nobody wants to talk about Giannis scoring 34, but that's a whole nother conversation, and I'm sure they'll have fun with it tomorrow out on the national media stage. PJ Tucker is doing exactly what we want to do. Now, when we watch the game and we see Kevin Durant get 28, 30, 32, guys, he scored 28 points today and was 1 from 8 from the 3-point range. So what does that tell you? The 25 points that he earned. Now I know he was gifted a lot of those at the free throw line, and we'll talk. I'll look at the free throws here in a minute, but he's earning everything he gets, and when he gets it, great, good for him. But he's earning it. There's nothing that's coming easy. He's barely scored in transition. He's getting every bucket that he is making, every point that he's making outside of the free throw line. Even when he's getting to the free throw line, he's earning those. So again, PJ Tucker doing exactly what he is supposed to do. He is a dog, and the guy does not let up. And a lot of those foul calls that did get, I wouldn't say a lot. There's a couple of them that Kevin Durant did get to the line. Could have gone either way. Tony Brothers was the referee today. So, it is what it is. eTech86, and he drops in a comment. He's over on on Twitter. If you're not like eTech86, be like him. Follow us on Twitter at Brew City Pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. He says Pat had a good game defensively as well. 2 steals. Or 4 steals. I don't know where I got 2 from. I have no idea where that came from. The Milwaukee Bucks had 10 steals as a team today. They were bringing it defensively. Arlen drops a comment. He's over on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Please give us a thumbs up. KD is going to score no matter what. He can score from anywhere. The Bucks' job is making it as hard as possible. Arlen, you are literally, I'm not being sarcastic. You are really smart, because that's exactly what I'm saying. The guy's going to score. He's going to get his buckets. He's 6'11" with a 7'2" wingspan. The guy's going to get his. And again, let him get his. I tweeted it out, and I said, double Kevin Durant. Trap him. Don't sag on him defensively, but trap him. double team him. Let somebody else, after Kyrie Irving went out, let somebody else beat him or beat you as the Milwaukee Bucks. Let them beat you. They obviously, I didn't see a whole lot of double teaming, but it really didn't matter. The Brooklyn Nets kind of waved the white flag at the 5-minute mark or so after a big three by Chris Middleton. Arlen's right. He's going to score no matter what, but you gotta have somebody else beat you, especially if two of those other big three are not in. But again, pressure's back on Brooklyn, and these guys are hurt. What do you do if you're Brooklyn, if you're James Harden? Do you come back? That's a soft tissue injury. He missed 21 games, guys, with that same hamstring. I don't know if that's something that he rushes back for Game 5. I think maybe if you see a little bit of an Anthony Davis. If the Bucks were to win on Tuesday against Brooklyn, maybe you see James Harden come back in Game 6 in Milwaukee. Maybe. I'm just speculating here. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to be very curious to see where the Brooklyn Nets go forward with their injuries. I honestly think Jeff Green probably came back too early. Plantar fasciitis is no joke, and to see him, he was in a walking boot in the first round of the playoffs. So again, maybe they rush their guys, and that's what I mean by the pressure being on Brooklyn. You got a first-year head coach. He's obviously been a proven Hall of Fame type player, but he's never coached in this type of environment before, in this type of situation. You have the better team. You have 3 Hall of Fame players on your roster. Milwaukee can't say that. They got 1, not 3. You got the best scorer. You got champions. Do not forget that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are champions, finals MVPs. Regular season MVPs with Kevin Durant. They got the better team. James Harden's also MVP. So when you're talking about big threes, it's obvious that it's Brooklyn over the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, obviously, injuries are going to play a part of it. If Milwaukee can start hitting their shots, and tonight they didn't really shoot all that good. They 44% from the field goal. I'll take that pretty much any day of the week. 3-pointers weren't the greatest. They made 16, but they shot 47 at 34%. But Brooklyn was worse from the 3-point range. They were under right above 30%. So again, make more free throws or make more 3-pointers than the Nets, and I guarantee you're going to beat them. And again, you hold Brooklyn. Again, I understand that Kyrie Irving went out of the game. I understand James Harden's not in the game, but you hold Brooklyn to under 100 points for the second consecutive game. Last game, they scored 83. Now, I understand the Milwaukee Bucks scored 86. Bucks couldn't hit a shot in Game 3, especially at the end. At the end of that game, it felt like pretty much everybody and anybody couldn't hit a shot. So again, defensively, you played better. You had 7 blocks, 10 steals, 27 assists for your Milwaukee Bucks. Now that shows me a little bit of a improvement from Coach Mike Budenholzer, facilitating the ball, a lot more ball movement, finding the open guy, getting better shots. It's all it's going to take in this series, and to turn it around is just get better shots. Find the open guy. No more ISO ball. I thought it might have been the Bryn Forbes game. He did come off the bench and score 10 points today, hit a couple threes. He got fouled on one. It was good to see him. It was positive to see him. I was not expecting PJ Tucker to have 3 of them and to finish with 13 points. So obviously that bench, PJ Tucker started, but Pat Connaughton, if I can talk, coming off the bench with 8. Obviously Bryn Forbes had 10. And Bobby Portis didn't have a point. He seems to still struggle. Again, he's only averaging 5 points in this series, which is a little bit worrisome. So you would imagine that he either turns it around or he doesn't. And going forward, you're going to need him to turn around depending on how far you go in the playoffs eventually. Free throw percentage, again, Giannis continues to struggle, shot 50% today. And you heard him talking about on the telecast. It's just mental with Giannis. It's just mental. I don't like his routine. I don't like his, dribbling and thinking and holding the ball up. Just grab the ball, 2 dribbles, shoot it. I'm not a shooting coach. I can't probably hit 10 free throws. Probably take me an hour. But I know the mental aspect of certain things, and I think it's just all mental with him. He's just a guy that, needs to just work through it on his own. But again, hey, there's no complaints when you win a big game 4, win a must game 4, going back to Brooklyn, tied up at 2 games apiece. Looking ahead to game 5, I believe it's already on Tuesday, which is a little odd for the turnaround being a travel. So you would imagine the Bucks take off for Brooklyn tomorrow out of Milwaukee and gear up for Tuesday's game. I am excited to see what happens with how this team goes into Brooklyn. Now we know that obviously they protected home court. You did what you were supposed to do. The first 2 games in Brooklyn, you got completely blown out. So how do the Bucks respond to those 2 losses are going to be interesting. I'm going to be very curious to see how they respond in Brooklyn after getting blown out. Bucks got the momentum right now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They got it. They are right there. They are right there. You win game 5, you win the series. You're not losing game 6 at home with an opportunity to knock off Brooklyn, especially if they're not healthy. And again, you hope they get healthy. I don't want to hear any excuses if and when the Milwaukee Bucks do win. I said it yesterday on my show live from In Plain View. Shout out to them. Yesterday was absolutely so much fun. Really good food out there too. I said if the Milwaukee Bucks won game 4 that they were going to win the series. And I still stand with that. And the only reason I say that, not because I think they go into Brooklyn and dominate on Tuesday. I don't know about that game, to be honest with you. The series could easily go 7. But I just said it before. The pressure's back on Brooklyn. It's been on Brooklyn. The first 2 games they won, they were supposed to win. Now you're in a brand new series, and now the pressure's on Brooklyn. His team has not faced any sort of setbacks, any sort of troubles. They walked through the regular season. They walked through the first round. They really walked through the first 2 games of the series, and now they got punched in the mouth for 2 times in a row. How do they respond? So going forward, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond after losing 2 games. Obviously, going home, you're going to get a little bit more of a crowd, boost. They're going to be, energetic as they were the first 2 games. Do they get a guy like Kyrie Irving or James Harden back? I would imagine one of those guys are back for game 5, maybe both. I just don't know. I've rolled my ankle a ton, and I know it's not something that heals real quickly. And even if Kyrie Irving were to come back in game 5, I still don't think he probably is the same Kyrie Irving with the ball on a string, creating all kinds of wiggle room for his shots and creating his own shot. So it's going to be interesting going back to Brooklyn. That game is on Tuesday. I'm not sure, unless I'm mistaken about a time. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, you can let me know. I'm not sure about the time for Tuesday's game. I do believe it is Tuesday, though. But just a must-win 2 games in Milwaukee. Shout out to the city of Milwaukee. If you were down at the Deer District, if you were at the Pfizer Forum, that energy, you could feel it through the television set. That energy is palpable. The Milwaukee Bucks absolutely fed off of it. Seeing Thanasis come out on for those 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever it was, and the crowd just absolutely losing their mind. It was fun to see. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what the city of Milwaukee, this is what the Bucks fans all around the world have been waiting for. This moment right here, a series in which we are not supposed to win. We are not supposed to win. Don't let these last 2 games fool you. Don't let Stephen A. or Skip Bayless or Shannon Sharp or any of them guys out on TV tomorrow fool you. We were supposed to lose this series. I've heard Bucks were going to lose in 4. I've heard Bucks were going to lose in 5. Both of those aren't happening. It's now 2-2 back into Brooklyn. Brooklyn's banged up. 2 of their 3 stars. Can Kevin Durant win without multiple superstars around him? That hasn't been proven yet. He obviously couldn't do it tonight. He had a chance. They were down 9. Had a chance. Wasn't out of reach until late in that 4th quarter. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the pressure is on Brooklyn. If those 2 stars for Brooklyn, Kyrie Irving and James Harden, do not come back, the pressure is all on Kevin Durant. It's on him. He's going to have to score 30, 35, 40 points. Joe Harris is going to have to contribute 20 points. EuroLeague star Mike James is going to have to contribute 15 to 20 points. When you lose a guy like Kyrie Irving and James Harden, you're losing a ton of production. Not only are you losing a lot of points, you're losing your point guards, the facilitators. How many assists a game did James Harden average when he was at Brooklyn? I believe it was over 10. You're losing 20 to 30 points right off of that. I mean, you're losing a lot. pressure's back on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has not won. As much as I respect Kevin Durant, as much as I like the player and how damn good he is, and he is really, really good, he has not won anywhere without another star. When he won in Oklahoma City, he had Russell Westbrook. He had a young James Harden. Obviously, everybody knows the story about Golden State. Multiple stars. Defensive Player of the Year. Draymond Green down there. Steph, Clay, Sean Livingston. I mean, great teams. But they're not no offense to Joe Harris or Bruce Brown or Mike James or Jeff Green. And we don't even know if something seems off with Blake Griffin. Something seems off with him not coming back in from that third quarter. And I could be wrong. Maybe he just, maybe the Nets kind of just figured it was one of those games where he wasn't going to make a complete difference. I don't know. But what I do know is that the pressure is going to be on Brooklyn, and we're going to see how they respond, how Kevin Durant responds if he doesn't have his co-stars with him. We know how the Bucks are going to respond. They know, and I'm imagining Coach Mike Budenholzer is telling him, you get Game 5, you're absolutely going to win. I don't see how the Bucks, if they do win Game 5, that they lose this series. But it's going to be fun to see, and we're going to tune in. We're going to watch it. We're going to cheer them on. That's what we do. If you're leaving the Pfizer Forum, if you're watching down at the Deer District, I know a couple of you guys are right now. I tip my cap to you guys. It was fun to see you guys go nuts on TV, loud as hell. Probably 10, 15,000 of you down there at the Deer District. It's just such a great place to be watching a basketball game. The weather is perfect right now out here in Milwaukee, right off the lake. It's like 76 degrees. It's perfect right now. Perfect basketball weather to be watching it outside, enjoying a beer down at the Deer District. If you're out there at the game, I tip my cap to you. If you were out there, you brought the energy. The crowd was electric. You could feel it. Every big game, every big steal, every big foul. It was a chippy game. It was a fun game to watch as a fan. Dad drops in a comment real quick. KD not good enough to carry the whole team. And people that are reading that comment might think he's crazy, but he's not. He's technically right because we haven't seen it yet. So again, we're going to see if it comes to fruition. He's got an opportunity. I mean, at the very least, you got 2 games. You got 2 games to, potentially, at home again with Brooklyn. Ryan Leary, he's over on YouTube. Must be nice having half the Nets team get hurt. I wouldn't say it's nice. I just said if you missed the opening part of the show, I don't like that there's injuries, but it's part of the game. Kyrie Irving goes out in that game, and it's not. It is what it is. You're still losing the game. You lost. I mean, you lost Game 3 with 2 of your 3 stars. It must be nice, Ryan, and I appreciate you for jumping on. I do appreciate you. It must be nice having 3 Hall of Fame players on your team. It must be nice. It must be really nice to have 3 Hall of Fame players on your team. I understand 2 of them got hurt. I've heard multiple times Kevin Durant's the best scorer. I've heard he's the Slim Reaper. I've heard a lot of things about Kevin Durant. Must be nice, Ryan, to have really good superstars on your team. We don't have that out here. We got Giannis. I was told Giannis can't win a title. I was told Giannis can't shoot free throws. I was told Coach Bud's going to get fired. I was told a lot of things. What I do know, Ryan, series is 2-2 going back to Brooklyn. We'll see you on Tuesday, my friend Ryan. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you, though. That'll do it for tonight's post-game show, guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend out in Milwaukee. Real quick, shout out to the Milwaukee Brewers sweeping the Pittsburgh Pirates, as they should, but sweeping the Pittsburgh Pirates. What a phenomenal, awesome, amazing weekend out here in Milwaukee. Bucks win both games. Real quick, I got a shout out to Adam. Nets can't win with the big 3 out. KD will not carry them at all. We haven't seen KD carry a team. Ryan, let us know if we're crazy. Can KD do it? We're going to see. We're going to find out on Tuesday. Again, tune into the post game following that game on Tuesday. Immediately following that game, I will be live and we will talk about it. We will break it down. Win, lose, or draw, we are right here at the Brew City Lounge. Thank you to everybody on the live feed. Ryan, thank you. I know you're a Nets fan, but I still appreciate you. Adam, my dad, Arlen, eTech86 over on Twitter. Jake, there's probably a handful of other ones. Andy, thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. It's fun, especially when they win. It's a lot more fun. So we'll see what happens going on Tuesday. That'll do it for tonight's post-game show. Shout out to the Brewers sweeping the Pirates. Shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks winning games 3 and game 4. Today they won in dominating fashion. We'll see what comes up with the injury report for both teams. I think the Bucks will probably get out of this one a lot more healthier than the Brooklyn Nets. We can only hope that Brooklyn does get healthier and we don't have any more excuses if and when the Milwaukee Bucks do win and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. I am your host, Brandon. Please go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. I will follow you right back. Do not forget to follow the show on Facebook, on Twitter, at Brew City Pod. You can also hit the YouTube channel at Brew City Lounge. Hit that subscribe button. It is so much appreciated. I hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your Sunday evening. Have a safe week. I will talk to you guys on Tuesday. Have a great day. Talk to you.